Hi everyone, I'm Amy Laughlin and I'm taking the podcast challenge. Many people are wondering if the 2024 election was secure or hacked. There are strong opinions on all sides, though I would say that those people who believe that the election was secure are treating the inquiry about the evidence and what we need to solve the question as almost a taboo topic, which I'm calling the blue wall of democracy. If you're not willing to look at the evidence to answer this question, you're part of the problem. Exit polls themselves on a national level are moot. They have no bearing on whether or not the election was hacked. Exit polls of a county might be able to be used to show a discrepancy between the data and the voter record. If the hacking occurred in the tabulating machines as opposed to the voter record machines, you might be able to see that in exit poll data. I don't know. But I do know that if you believe that the election was secure, there is evidence that can prove it. Can you think of what it is? Audits for hand counting the ballots. This would be called a forensic audit. What would be the proof for election hacking? It would be the same. Hand counting the paper ballots in a forensic audit. Because there is only one thing that can definitively prove yay or nay to the election question, all of us, no matter what we believe, should be willing to look at that information. In fact, we should reform our election process so that always there is a certification process of hand counting for certification. So as I see it, we could always use paper ballots, or we could get early responses from tabulated data and then verify with hand counting the paper ballots, always as a regular process. We could get rid of this election denying period and move forward with our, hopefully, democracy. So the question here is, why are people unwilling to talk about this? Why are people unwilling to open up the door to recounts? Why are Harrison Walls not standing up in the face of everything that's happening in our country? There is now enough data analysis for legal grounds to challenge the 2024 election, at least in Pennsylvania and North Carolina. And if the preliminary analysis would prove to be correct, they would have won those two states. But in truth, this conspiracy might have spanned a much broader group of individuals. So it may not be just the president who benefited from election hacking, is what I'm saying. Which is why we need to really do the hand counts every year. We definitely need to have that be part of 2026 if we're going to have any chance at all. But even with paper ballots, some countries like Russia fudge those. So for example, with the recent attempt of Trump to get voter information, which doesn't seem like it would be for ICE, it doesn't seem like it would be for the Palantir database. The only thing I can think of that they would use this for is to create false paper ballots. In other words, taking our votes away from us and saying we voted differently. I don't know if that's true, and that does sound like a conspiracy theory, but it's a speculation about motive for what's happening today. Before I go, I want to suggest that we can also look at some circumstantial evidence. I live in Georgia. We know that we got the call, can you find me some other votes? So that court case never came to fruition due to delays and then Trump taking the presidency and the corrupt Supreme Court giving him freedom to be a criminal. So also, the stuff that he's doing now, trying to take away paper ballots, trying to gather the voter information, this call for gerrymandering on a huge scale, all of that is happening now, which means he's trying to steal our votes for 2026. If we don't move to hand-counted ballots, if the states do not stand up to Trump, then who knows what's going to happen. I think I have one more item of potentially circumstantial evidence for my theory that he in fact did steal the election. It's the paralysis of the GOP in Congress. If they really thought the voters were going to decide whether they kept their jobs, do you think they would be doing everything this guy says? I think they're scared of something more, that the numbers can be fudged to get them out of there. So here's my challenge to you. Don't be part of the blue wall of democracy. Talk about this. It's a reasonable inquiry based upon the existing evidence. It isn't a conspiracy theory, not yet. But my prediction is, if we do not get those ballots counted for 2024 and since in elections that have not yet been confirmed, that we will have a conspiracy theory about this that will tear the Democratic Party apart the way the Epstein files are tearing apart MAGA. Think about that for a second. If the reason for not challenging the election is that you don't want to undermine our confidence in the election process, well, too late, A. And B, the only thing that is going to give us confidence is counting the paper ballots. Thanks for listening if you did. Don't we all deserve to have the truth once and for all on this matter before the ballots are destroyed?